Hello, 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 and welcome to the Enrich Your Business Circle podcast. I'm Rickdrika Bennett, your host. And this show, we're going to explore something amazing. We're going to explore strategies and soul depth shifts that basically need to be built in your life and in your business so that you can be in full alignment with your purpose, who you are, and what you want to do. My goal in this episode is to bring you some conversations around things that may not inspire you or things that could inspire you. But the goal is to make sure that you have a practical roadmap so that you can be following the true you and to have some type of purpose. Today's conversation will definitely be a powerful conversation as we dive into subconscious reprogramming and human design. And our guest, Tina LeAnn, is the founder of Sovereign Soul. So we are going to welcome here Tina. It is our privilege to have you on our show today. Tina, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So Tina, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I did a little snippet, but I would definitely like you to tell the audience a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm founder of the Sovereign Soul. And so I'm a coach for mostly midlife women. I do coach some men, but mostly I work with women. And I use human design, gene keys, and NLP, neuro linguistic programming, are the main tools that I use in my coaching practice. I find them, they're so useful and so helpful in making very rapid shifts in real transformation, like real long lasting transformation. And so I love the human design, and the gene keys allows people to get to know themselves better. And
Okay.
then with the neuro linguistic programming, we can make shifts at an unconscious level very quickly. And then we set goals and we make an action plan, because transformation happens in the action that we take as well. That's a big part of it. And so we make an action plan and steps for them to take so they can keep transforming and keep growing, even, as we work together and after we're done working together.
Awesome. So you said a mouthful. So let's kind of break it
Yes.
down for those who may not understand
Okay.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
So first I want to start with the NLP. Could you kind of explain to people what NLP is?
Yeah. So neuro linguistic programming is neuro is how we take in all the information around us through our senses.
Okay.
Linguistic is what we do with that information. We make meaning out of it, right?
Mhm.
And then it's all the information, like we take in 2 billion bits of information. Our unconscious takes in 2 billion bits of information per second. And then
Wow.
it gets deleted, distorted, and generalized through our filtering system, our internal representational filter system, based on our values, beliefs, and past experiences, down to 126 bits that we're conscious of. So we're taking in a lot of information, and then it gets filtered and we get this little bit that we're conscious of, that we choose. And we're actually like choosing what we believe based on our values, beliefs, and past experiences. And then programming is just that. Then we create programs from this information. So there's all this information available to us. It gets deleted, distorted, and generalized. And then we create programs, strategies, and habits throughout our lives. And most of these programs, many of them, are instilled in us or are programmed in us by the time we're 8 years old. And then we carry these into adulthood. And some of these strategies and programs are very helpful, and then some of them are not. They're both, whether they're helpful or not, they're all there to protect us. They're all there for good intention. And so with NLP, what we can do is we can look at these patterns, we can look at the strategies, and we can do a pattern interrupt by talking to the unconscious. We can do a pattern interrupt, and we can create new strategies with new language. So to get you to the goals that you want to get to live out your desired life.
Awesome. It
Yeah.
seems like that's like the very core of your work for Sovereign Soul, which
Yeah.
Sovereign Soul in itself is like a powerful term.
Mm.
So, what does the the word sovereignty kind of mean in the context when it comes to your work with your clients and with people just trying to reprogram their subconscious mind?
Yeah, so sovereignty to me, it means taking radical responsibility
Okay.
for myself and all areas of my life,
Mm.
and living in a very autonomous, compassionate, loving way, living from my heart with compassion and very autonomous. So how the work happens is, I'll use people pleasing for an example, because that was one that's a big one that I went through in my life. I grew up in sort of a very inconsistent household as a child, and so I learned to be quiet and to, try to kind of like stay invisible, if you will, just
Mhm.
uh, just to like stay under the radar, if you will, and to not make any waves. And so that helped me as a child in survival, right? But it's not going to help me thrive. People pleasing is not going to help me thrive. Not speaking my true, or keeping my voice suppressed and make and flying under the radar is not going to help me thrive in life. And so that strategy of being the people pleaser, I was able to unwind over some time. I was able to unwind that, and now I can use my voice and ask for what I want. I can say yes, I can say no. And where the people pleasing part for me kind of came into place was, I didn't want to I didn't want to be selfish. I didn't want to let other people down, and I wanted to make sure everybody else was okay. And so I would say yes sometimes when I wanted to say no, and say no sometimes when I wanted to say yes, just to make sure everybody else was okay except for me. And then I kept bending and bending and bending. And eventually I was like, wait a second here. I'm like making sure everyone else is happy. I'm living this life that I'm not happy with, and I'm not happy. So I need to make a change here. And so that's where a strategy like that, if we can um, get to the unconscious, get to the root of this strategy, then we can understand where it came from, and we can loosen the grip on it, and we can create a new strategy. And so now, I use my voice, I let myself be seen and heard,
Mhm.
and I let other people feel what they're going to feel. If someone asks me to do something and I really don't have the time for it, and I'll say thank you for inviting me, but I can't fit that into my schedule this week. Sometimes I'll just say, no is a complete sentence, right? And if they're upset about that, then I let them feel that. I I take care of myself first, and also with compassion and love. I'm not just saying no to be mean or anything like that.
I think that's awesome. I think when too many times we are in a place or put ourselves in a place of becoming people pleasers and don't take care of ourselves. And then
Yeah.
we have this mindset that taking care of ourselves is selfish. And I tell people sometimes you have to be selfish so that you can be in the right place. Um, and
Yeah.
I feel like that what you're doing or your coaching journey is really helping people to kind of reclaim their inner voice of what they're trying to bury down and helping it to resurface to the top. So, with the intersections of the three different elements that you're using, how do you approach transformation?
Yeah, that's very insightful what you said, like helping people find their voice and their own power, to feel, empowered again in who
Mhm.
they are, to stand with courage and truth. So I use these tools that I use. So human design is, just for your listeners, just a quick synopsis of what human design is. It's a combination of astrology, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the Hindu chakra system, quantum
Mm,
physics, and genetics, all combined into one system. Ra Uru, who is the gentleman who channeled this. And so you use your birth date, time, and location, and you
okay.
get what's called a body chart, or a body graph, or a human design chart or body graph. You'll hear those words interchangeably. And so what this shows you is your energetic blueprint of who you are as a human. And so there's areas that are activated and areas that are not activated. They're open or undefined, we call them.
Mhm.
Activated, defined, or undefined, or open. And so within all of this, the undefined, open, and defined, we can look at where your gifts are, where your purpose is, how you best utilize energy in relationships and in life and in the world. So it's very helpful, not only to learn more about yourself for yourself, but also to learn more about how you communicate, how other people see you, and
Mhm.
how you best utilize your energy in the world, so you can create a life that is energetically empowering and not energetically draining. And
Mm.
so with the human design chart, I use it as a tool. It's not like, here's a new label. Now we're going to put you in a new box. I don't use it like that. I just use it like, hey, this is you and your highest potential. Let's see where you are now. And this is your highest potential. And then let's bridge the gap. And so then we bridge the gap by using NLP. I use the neuro linguistic program then to talk to the unconscious to say, hey, we see a strategy or a pattern that is not helpful here. It's holding this person back over here and they want to be here. And so we can use neuro linguistic programs to loosen the grip on that. And then we can create a new strategy.
And I feel like your intersection of what you're doing could be very beneficial to those who are business owners who are
Oh,
struggling
yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
when a lot of people get started, they may not start in their correct niche or start in the right place, but they have an idea of what they want to do, and it could possibly help them get clarity based on what type of person they are, or even try to find blockages that are trying to prevent them to becoming their best selves so that they can accomplish that goal.
Yes, you are very correct. Yeah. So not only can we set up the business based on their energetic type,
Mhm.
and some people are generators where they have energy, they can just go, 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 manifesting generators and generators, right? The world is set up for that. And they get up in the morning and work all day, go to sleep, get up in the morning, work all day, go to sleep. They don't really need a lot of rest. Some people, they rest at the end of the day, and that's enough for them. And then manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, we need a little bit more rest. And so then we can set up the business to incorporate, okay, you need a little bit more rest, so let's get some automation going here. Or can you hire somebody to take over some of this extra, some admin stuff or something? We can talk about things like that so they don't feel so exhausted. And then, yeah, there's a lot around branding and messaging. Your purpose is in there. And so we can apply, like, do you feel like you're on purpose in this type of business in what
Mhm.
you're doing? Or can we shift it, keep this business the same, but can you shift it a little bit? So then you feel like you're more on purpose. When you feel like you're more on purpose, you just are, you have more energy, right? You get lit up when you're working throughout the day and you feel more expansive, and you want to do, like you were saying before, right? You have to fill your own cup first so it's overflowing, and then you have this beauty and radiating light to give to everybody.
So I have this question because you broke down like the different categories. Could a person possibly be in a blended category?
Well, we all have all of the chart.
Okay.
And so maybe not a blended category, but you could potentially have characteristics of more than one, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yes.
So this is like your natal blueprint. And also then the planets, we're in transits constantly, right? Earth is moving, everything is moving all the time. And so we're all experiencing all the chart all the time in different areas. Like this week, the sun is transit in gate one. So we're all experiencing gate one, whether we have it active in our chart or not. And so we do get to experience the energy of the entire chart.
And the reason I asked that question is because I feel like based on the seasons, like in the spring, of course, I'm more of that generator kind of person. And kind of in the summer where I don't have to have a lot of sleep and I can just go, 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 go. But as time gets closer to like the fall and winter, I feel like I do need that more rest to keep myself energized to kind of move forward and get stuff done.
And that's natural. And that's how I love that you brought that up, because we are just like we're organic biological beings, right? And so we do move with the cycles of nature. And as women too, we move with the cycles of the month.
Right.
Right. And so even during the month, we're going to feel more energized in this week than this week, right? We're going to need more rest during certain phases of our cycle, right? So there's 1 week in the month where we have more energy, and then we need to kind of like plant seeds. We have the energy, we have a rest, and then we're coming back around, right? Every
Right.
month, and then also every year. And so, yeah, that all plays into, we all should be looking at that for our lives and how we lead our lives, because this is the perfect time now, right? We're coming into winter to like have a good look at how did this year go, right? Reflect on this year, and then how can we set ourselves up for the best expansion coming into next year. This is the perfect time to do that, and to really like hone in where we came from this past year, what went well, what didn't, what do I want to shift, and then set up some goals based on your values, your energetic blueprint, and all these other things to really set yourself up to thrive in the coming months and years.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely that was definitely something that I was thinking about with like the different seasons and things like that. And with the human design chart, do people have to know like the exact time that they were born in order for that to be effective, or can they just use their birthday?
No, you need the exact time. And you can get, so for the, if you don't know your birth time, you can contact the hospital
Hmm.
to see if they have that on record. Most of them do, some of them don't, though. You can ask parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Some random family member might remember, like, oh, yeah, I remember it was the morning, right? And so then you can kind of narrow it down a little bit. The closer you can get, the better. And then the other thing that I use is muscle testing. That's
Okay.
super helpful. And so the closer you get, the better. So you can be off a little bit and still kind of get you know, where it really comes into play is with the more advanced pieces of the human design chart. Once you get into the 4 transformations, that's where it really matters. The exact birth time really matters.
Okay.
But what you can do if you don't have your birth date, get as close as you can. Ask some relatives, contact the hospital, do some muscle testing, get as close as you can. And then I have a free, on my website, you can get a free human design chart. And you can, let's say your mom says, I remember it was in the morning, but I don't remember exactly the time. It must have been around 4 or 5 o'clock. So just start there. Put 4 a.m. in there, and then see what you get, and then put 5 a.m. and see if sometimes the chart is the same. The
Okay.
overall chart is the same. Sometimes it changes. It depends on what was going on astrologically. But
Hmm.
sometimes it is the same, and there could be several hours of, where it's the same. And then sometimes it changes within minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is when you have this chart, um how do you basically help women to kind of rebuild that unshakable self-trust? So what once they get this chart, what's next?
So we go through the chart, and usually what happens is we all have an aha moment. And
Hmm.
so the chart really tells you it's everything about you. It's really like it's everything about you. And here's what I experienced, and what I see a lot of my clients experience is, now going back to the 2 billion bits of information per second that we're picking up since birth. We have a lot of information in our unconscious, right? So if we think about that from that leading from that perspective, we know so much more than we believe that we know. Number one, and we know ourselves better than we think we know ourselves. We really do know ourselves. We know the answers. We ask a lot of questions of ourselves and to ourselves. We know the answer, but then our head gets in the way and the yeah buts start, or I should do this, or but this past experience, this happened before, so if I do that, then I'm going to get hurt again, right? And the head gets in the way. So then when we pull out the human design chart, like, and a person, we know our own potential, like we can see visions of where we think it's like a daydream or something, like, oh, it would be so cool if this happened, or oh, I would love to live here, right? Or I would love to speak on stages someday. But then we might not believe that we could get there. We'll see somebody else doing that. We'll think, well, that's them. They have a special thing that I don't have, and that's what got them there. And so when you look at the chart, for some reason, it's like a permission slip. It's very interesting because it's like, well, this is me. This is my blueprint. Like this is me. Ah, well, that's cool. So, oh, I could be a speaker. Oh, I could, do this. Oh, I have this gift. And it's almost like they're remembering what they already know. Or
So,
I should say, we're remembering what we already know.
so basically, the chart kind of lets you. Does it put you? What kind of categories does it put you in? Because you said that you
It
could
doesn't.
speak. Oh,
It doesn't put you in any categories. All it's
okay.
doing is it's showing you who you are. And
Hmm.
so when it's showing you who you are, and it's showing you your gifts and your potential and your purpose and all these, your theme in life, right? And all these
Okay.
things that it's showing you. And as I'm going through the chart, you're remembering, like, oh, I knew that about myself. Oh, I remember that. Or, oh, I didn't know that, but that makes sense now why this happened and how I got here, right? And so everything kind of starts to come up from the
Okay.
unconscious. It's, you're pulling it from the unconscious. And then for some reason it feels like it's more believable than yourself, right? You're almost like borrowing belief from something else before you can believe it for yourself.
Mm. So it basically lets you know more about the gifts that you already have inside of you, so that you can enhance who you currently are. In a
Yes.
nutshell,
In
I
a
think that's
nutshell, yes.
amazing.
It is. It's really super. It's really cool, and also the whole belief and the permission slip part of it. Because the first time I saw my chart, I had a couple aha moments, like, oh, well, that make no wonder that happened my whole life, because this is my gift. And then sometimes you learn the opposite of what you're here to do, because so you understand like the whole, holistically the whole thing, so you can really help people through.
Mm.
um, yeah. So it's very fascinating.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. I'm definitely gonna have to try it out this weekend to see what my chart looks like, because I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever actually looked at a human design chart, but I've looked at my Hindu chart and
Mm,
know those aspects of things. So I think this will be even more fascinating to kind of look at and see what the results will be. Now,
yeah.
once you get this chart and you see like the things that are genuinely embedded in you, are there any steps to kind of really help you reprogram yourself to be like, okay, I know what I can do. So now let me move forward in who I am and what I am able to do.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So awareness is the first step to transformation,
Mhm.
right? Once you have the awareness, now you know, like, oh, I I have this in me. I knew this, but I didn't know it, or I didn't believe it, right? Or maybe it's something that you didn't even know. Now you know, I have this awareness.
Mhm.
The first step that you can do is to take action on it, right? And then in the process of taking action, you're going to learn a whole lot of things, because if if let's say you find your purpose is to be a speaker or something like that, or to speak your
Right.
truth, and you've seen visions of yourself speaking on stage, and you're like, this is how I have this gift, and this is how I want to utilize it. I have this gift of using my voice to speak truth and to bring people along with me on the movement that I'm creating, and the way that I'm going to do this is speaking on stage. So then let's say you reach out and, I'm going to try to get booked on some stages. And in the process, you get some rejection along the way. You could feel like, oh no, maybe I'm not supposed to do this because I'm getting rejected, right? Whatever patterns that you're holding in your body, these things are going to come up. And you're going to think, oh no, maybe this isn't meant for me. Oh no, maybe and then you might start procrastinating a little bit, and then you might just give up on it for a little bit, and then it might come back around like, oh yeah, but you keep seeing yourself or being called to be a speaker. So
Mhm.
then you try again, and then you get a speaking gig. Now you have to actually stand on stage, which takes
Right.
some courage, right? And so all of the whole thing with transformation is to keep taking action. It's to keep taking action and to move through the things that come up, like the fear that comes up, finding more courage within you, being more truthful with yourself.
Mhm.
Maybe, and then let's say you do a speaking engagement, and then you're like, oh, well, you know what? That really didn't feel good. So my mission here is to speak my truth, but maybe there's a different way I could do this. And
Okay.
then you start speaking in front of smaller groups. And so it's all about keeping that awareness in the forefront and paying attention to what's happening in your body, listening to your body. You got to
Mhm.
keep taking action, bring the fear with you, move through the procrastination and all the old patterns that are running. And as you're moving through, as you're doing these pattern interrupts, the patterns are shifting, the strategy's shifting, and everything is shifting within you, but you have to keep moving. You have to keep taking action.
So and I strongly agree about keeping taking action. But I know some people run into those limiting beliefs. I know you said the triggers or things like that, and those limiting beliefs are part of your subconscious aspect of the brain.
Yes.
So in that, are there ways to actually change those limiting beliefs into something positive so that you can continue to take action?
Yeah, there are so many ways to do that. And there's so many techniques that we can use. One that I'll share that's super easy
Mhm.
is reframing.
Okay.
And maybe your listeners have heard, maybe you've heard of this, or your listeners have heard of this already, but reframing. And so if a limiting belief comes up, let's just stick with this speaking example. Let's say a limiting belief comes up of, there's no way I'm going to be accepted as a speaker at this wherever, blah, 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 this place that you really want to speak at.
Mhm.
You can, when you catch yourself, right? Because that's a limiting belief. So when you catch yourself, write it down on a piece of paper and then write the complete opposite of it. If, let's say, the limiting belief is there's no way I'm going to get in there. Well, the opposite of that is I will get in there. There's every way that I will get in. I will be speaking on this stage. That's the opposite of that, right?
Right.
And so that's a really easy one that we can all do all day, all the time. When we catch ourselves having any negative thought at all about whatever it is, that, fitness is another goal that many people are going after, whether it's losing weight or getting in shape or eating healthier or drinking more water, something like that, right?
Mhm.
Let's say you set a goal to lose 20 pounds next year, and then this limiting belief comes in like, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that. Well, write it down and then write down the opposite. For every thought that comes up, every negative, because we all have that self-talk, that chatter in our head, right? um, there's a book, The Untethered Soul, and the author writes about how that's your chatty roommate, and you can quiet the chatty roommate. And so when the chatty roommate comes up and says something negative, write it down, and you can make a whole list. This is what I did. I don't
Uh-huh.
do this anymore, but I did to get through this because I was really in this space of I had a lot of negative self-talk. So I would write down all the negative stuff on one side of the paper, and then the other side of the paper, I would reframe it and I would write it in a positive way for everything.
Oh, wow. And I
Yeah.
think that's a form of creating affirmations for yourself to affirm
Yes.
yourself so that you can actually move forward and get things
Yes.
done.
Yes. And that's a that and that to your point, with that's the proper way to create affirmations too. So it's an NLP thing, but yes, it's actually what this whole thing around affirmations. So you, for somebody, let's say a person who's carrying a lot of unworthiness. I was carrying a lot of unworthiness. And when I started learning about affirmations, and they said, well, just say, I am worthy, I am love, I am this. When I said, I am worthy, my whole body was like, yeah, but no, you're not. And it wasn't helpful. Felt like it was doing more harm than good. So then when I learned this technique about reframing, you're reframing your actual thoughts. You have to start from where you are. And
Mhm.
so you're actually reframing your thoughts. And so when you reframe your thoughts, to your point, you can write it out as an affirmation. I am, using I am in the positive statement. And then you're meeting yourself where you are and you're stepping up from there rather than going from 0 to 100 and then having yourself be like, there is no way that that if you're going from unworthy to worthy, there's, I mean, maybe some people can do that, but I couldn't. I had to like step up and start from where I was and then do one step at a time.
Awesome. I think that's amazing. And we always have to start somewhere. And then I don't feel like everyone has that same discipline. So I think that step would be a good step to actually start with. So Tina,
Yeah.
this has been very transformative. And guys, if you who are listening, if you do not have your human design chart, I encourage you to do so and get yours. I will be getting mine this weekend so I can find out what's on my chart. Um, and Tina, thank you for sharing your wisdom and the incredible work that you do. I feel that it's very valuable, especially for women, whether they're in their own careers or if they're business owners. I feel like your message today is needed and can be beneficial to help them to move forward and who they are and into their purpose. So,
Mhm.
are there any final tips or pieces of advice that you would like to share with the audience about human design and subconsciousness?
Yeah, I think the big one is to trust yourself. Really
Mhm.
just like tune into your own body, your own system, your human system, and trust yourself. You already know. You already have all the answers and it's there for you if you're willing to open up to it. Just sit in stillness, give yourself some quiet, just a couple minutes every day, and you will hear so much truth coming from your own system.
Awesome. And today's guest, Tina LeAnn, if you want more information about her work, her podcast episodes, or her coaching programs, you can go to thesovereignsoul.com. We'll make sure we have a link in the show notes. Tina, could you share any other ways they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so the sovereignsoul.co, and then you can get on the top, just click on free HD chart, and you can run your human design chart for free. And then on that page, if you scroll down, you can do one with your partner. It overlaps the chart for, it's really cool for couples. It's super fun. And run your chart for your kids and everything. That's free. And then I'm on Instagram at I am Tina LeAnn. And then and I have some free gifts for everybody at thefutureyouframework.com.
Awesome. And if this conversation resonated to you on today, please make sure you share this episode with another person who needs to hear it. It's the best way to support our show and to support our guests, and so that we can spread the word and help people grow into becoming their best selves. Until next time, remember to trust yourself, take the next small step, take action, and becoming your ultimate best.